A business in Joplin, Missouri experiences frustrations as the Joplin police give him the runaround on solving his thefts.
I'm back. One more day of great February temperatures, but we're going to break down a weekend cold front as well. All the latest from the Skywatch Weather Center.
Also, a sinkhole opens in Joplin, Missouri, and now Joplin Public Works have to figure out what to do with it.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Bronte Sorotsky. Okay, Michael, let's take a look at those temperatures for the rest of the day. We've been having pretty good weather.
What have you thought about our afternoons? Is this your first full February in the 4 states?
It's my second, but much better than last February.
It was much better. If you go back a year ago, and we had the big snow event, but if you go back a year ago right now, I was telling Tanya this the other day, we were looking at overnight lows about 1 and 7 degrees. We're coming off of a week where temperatures have just been absolutely great. Forgive me about my timeline there with you, Bronte. I could, and Bronte's got West Coast blood in her. It's going to come back and it's going to shock her. These 4 state days that we have, but I don't even think anybody from the West Coast could complain. The fact that we're sitting at 50 degrees on a February morning pre-sunrise. Past couple of days, we've been below the freezing point and still been able to make it up into the 50s and 60s. And what a great start that we have right now. We are picking up just a little bit of rain here, mainly up through the Kansas City area. We'll see a little bit to our north, nothing severe, not even picking up any lightning with it. As we get into the afternoon hours, high 50s, cloud cover is going to slow us down a little bit. We're not going to make it up into the mid 60s, but still cannot complain until we get to about right there. Right when we turn Friday into Saturday, watch our temperatures just continue to go down, all throughout Saturday to the point where Saturday morning we're down into the low 20s. Teens are going to be, wind chills are going to be teens, if not single digits. But luckily, number one, no precip that's going to flip over. We don't have to worry about that. Number two, right back into the 40s on Sunday. You can tell the slow rise that we get right after that. And Bronte, we're still looking at a great Valentine's Day. We took it back a little bit. We've been looking at high 50s, low 60s. Took that back down to the mid 50s, warm up. Going to take a little bit. And then Wednesday and Thursday next week, we're going to start talking about rain.
Ooh, well, thanks, Michael. We'll take a look at that later. The city of Mulberry, Kansas in Crawford County can move forward with a lawsuit against one of the world's largest energy companies. The city alleges BP gouged them with high price increases during last February's freezing weather. A Crawford County judge dismissed a motion by the company to end the lawsuit, which allows residents to sue BP for allegedly violating anti-profiteering laws. In February of last year, the city of fewer than 500 residents received a bill for $51,000. BP yesterday announced a 2021 profit of $12.8 billion. Joplin police have fenced off a sinkhole that opened up in Landreth Park. Police say the hole appears to be about 25 feet deep and there's water at the bottom. Joplin Public Works is trying to figure out what to do about the hole. For now, they've put up a temporary fence. A Joplin business owner says he's frustrated with the Joplin Police Department's response following a series of crimes at his business. Josh Maresh owns Jomo Moving in Jomo Bazaar. He says in December of 2020, someone accessed the business's bank account and routing numbers. He says the person then began paying their own bills under their own name. His frustration comes in with the police department's response, which he says has been silent.
They've told me they're overworked, underpaid, and that they've got a large caseload. That's what I've been told, time and time and time again. Nothing more. Nothing more. And yes, I've got the names. I went to the businesses that they cashed my checks at, got the evidence, turned everything over to JPD for nothing.
We'll hear more of Maresh's story later in the half hour. A Missouri bill aims to change the way patients of physical therapy can receive treatment. Currently, patients need either a referral or prescription from a doctor to receive physical therapy. House Bill 1555 would change the current law. The bill's sponsor, Representative David Gregory, says it would save patients both time and money.
So one of the biggest problems with it is, we all know, it's hard to get into your physician, your primary care physician. It could take weeks, and oftentimes you're hurting, right? You pulled a muscle, you did whatever. So what this does is it cuts out that loop to allow people to go directly to physical therapy, and you're also not paying to see your physician.
The bill will go through another round of votes in the House next week before it could move to the Senate. Kansas lawmakers signed off on the state's largest ever taxpayer-funded incentives program, without knowing what company gets the incentives. Officials say the incentives will attract thousands of new jobs to the state, but most don't know the name of the company or what it plans to make. The bill now goes to Governor Laura Kelly. Her administration says it's pursuing a $4 billion project, but has not said what the project is. The Pittsburgh Chamber of Commerce today unveiled the progress of some new renovations. The Chamber building is being remodeled inside and outside. 2 new offices are being added. It should be wrapped up in about a month. Officials say the new look will be a mix of historical and modern.
For a small nonprofit like us, it's a big leap, a big project for us, but at the same time, this community has been great about supporting us, so we want to show our commitment to the community by making sure that the Welcome Center gives a great first impression of Pittsburgh and the surrounding area.
Chamber officials say the city is covering part of the renovation costs, but most of it is paid for through the private sector. Valentine's Day is on Monday, which means flower shops are getting pretty busy filling out orders for the holiday. According to the National Retail Federation, flowers are the 3rd most common Valentine gift. Nationwide, people are expected to spend $300 million on flowers. The owner of Countryside Flowers in Joplin hopes to continue their legacy of delivering arrangements to happy customers.
Family's business is very important to me. I'm the 4th generation. And when I first started working here, I could tell instantly that there were a lot of people that really trusted them to do their flowers, and a lot of relationships that they formed over the years. And I'd like to do everything that I can to help continue that legacy.
Another option to show off your love for your love, you can submit a photo of the 2 of you to our Cute Couples photo gallery. You can find it at koamnewsnow.com/photo. And it's 5:07.
It'll shape up to be a nice nice Valentine's Day, because what you can do is you can cuddle when the cold front hits tomorrow. And then by the time you get ready for the actual day itself, you can go out and the evening's going to be about low 50s, high 40s. So it's going to be perfect. Here's a closer look at our rain on this Friday morning. It is light for the most part, picking up trace amounts of accumulation. If you do have to jump on 49 here, you may run into a little residual of it if you have to go up to the Kansas City area. Here in the 4 states, we're already rolling mid to high 40s, work up into the mid 50s later on today. Increased cloud cover. That kind of slows us from getting up into the mid 60s. If we didn't have the clouds, we'd cruise past that. Then overnight, prepare yourselves, because after we hit midnight, midnight will be our warmest temperature of Saturday when we hit 12:01, because after that we're just going to roll straight down into the 20s.
That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KUAM Morning News, the ladies of MSSU seek another win as they take on Missouri Western. Plus, the Super Bowl is almost here, and that means it's time for the Super Bowl halftime show. We'll take a sneak peek behind the scenes. And head trauma is no joke. It was recently revealed that Bob Saget died from head trauma. We'll have what experts say when experts say you need to get it checked out. You're watching the KUAM Morning News, more real news in the morning. We'll be right back.
Both Pittsburgh State and Missouri Southern at home. MIAA League doubleheaders as the Lions welcomed in the Missouri Western Griffins. On the women's side, it was a big one because Western's 12-3 in the conference, ranked number 21 in the country. Southern's won 9 in a row, 13-3 in MIAA play. Brooke Stauffer gets the Lions started. Spot up, give me that 3 ball. She puts up a big first half, finishes with 12 points. Then Lacey Stokes, watch her change speeds right here. Yup, whoop, whoop. Beautiful left hand. Stokes again on the defensive end. Other way, do I wait? No. I step back. I get buckets. 24 points, 6 assists, 6 steals for the freshman. 23-21 after one. Second quarter, Western sticks around. Brianna Budgets with the layup later. Lane Skiles knocks down a 3 from Missouri Southern. Skiles puts Moso up 2 at the half. Back to Skiles in the third. 17 points, team high. 17 rebounds for Lane Skiles. And the Lions never look back. Huge win for Southern over Mo Western. Final score 71-57.
Of the game and the third quarter, like our saying is punch first. So we were ready for anything that they threw at us.
I think it just kind of proves that like we're a team that deserves some respect, you know. I mean, we've been at the bottom for a while, and now, you know, we're at the top and we're winning these games that, you know, people probably don't think we should be. And to continue to do that and keep going on the streak, it just proves more and more that, you know, we are a good basketball team.
Game 2, Southern men on the floor against Western. Southern looking for its 4th win in 6 games. Few minutes in, Alec Jones. Smooth looking shot. Then, off the steal, Avery Taggart. Stan Scott, you did not just punch that one-handed. Yeah, foul to go along with that 3-point play. Southern with the lead. Taggart working hard down in the paint. And then back to work. Taggart, watch the no-look pass to Christian Bundy. Hello, Bundy. Taggart and Scott all finish with 17 points. Southern rolls by Western 78-68. As for Pittsburgh State, also at home, facing the Northwest Missouri State Bearcats, PSU women trying to earn a season split with Northwest after falling 66-62. That was back in January. That was up in Maryville. Now they get them at home. Gorillas enter the night with an even 8-8 record in the MIAA, 13-9 overall, and down early until Sydney Crane finds Jamie Jackson. Jackson with the 3 and has 11 in the first half. Gorillas up by 2 at the break. In the third, Sydney Holmes working in the paint. Holmes not only had 14 points, she also had 7 rebounds with that tough shot. Pitt State goes up 3. Final period, Tristan Gay. Bucket, foul. Then Tristan Gay. Jumper. She had 7 in the 4th quarter alone, 18 on the night. And then Jamie Jackson finishes it off, points number 19 and 20. Pitt State wins a good one, 66-62.
We did see that they were not guarding our ball screens very well, so we just really wanted to take it at them, and we ended up being able to get deep every time because they knew our posts roll really hard. So we took that at them early.
Jamie's been progressing this whole year, but it was some things that we've seen last year, you know. And so I just feel like she's just continuing to find her rhythm offensively. We've seen it before, and just happy for her that, you know, it's all coming together. And she made some huge plays for us tonight, no doubt.
Gorilla men with a tough task at hand because Northwest Missouri is ranked 2nd in the nation. West Dreamer. Deep ball for the Bearcats, spotted up from about the logo, it looked like. 13-4 run to open the game for Northwest. On the other end, good ball movement from PSU. Cameron Huffner, he finishes with 11 points on the night. And then a little history. Check out Trevor Hudgens. 3-pointer for Northwest. That is a new MIAA single season record, his 119th 3-pointer of the year. And they still got games to play, folks. Right before the half, Bobby Arthur Williams beats the buzzer. He had 17. Gorillas made a second half run, but it was number 2 Northwest winning 80-68. Baxter Springs High School baseball is sending yet another player to the college game. Cameron Williamson signing to stay in Southeast Kansas. He will go to vaunted Neosho County. Williamson, an all-state pick for Baxter Springs last season and kind of player who does it all. Hit .446 with 7 doubles, 27 runs in 20 games. Oh, by the way, he was 4-0 on the mound with a 3.09 ERA. Here he is on his decision to head to Chanute.
The facilities are great. I went to the indoor through bullpen. It was very nice. Then after that, went to the clubhouse, showed me all their uniforms, and boy, they have a lot. I think it's 18, but yeah, it was very nice facilities. I'm pretty excited for it to be close to home because I got a lot of people that love to support me, and I love that everyone comes to support me and watch my games and stuff like that, so that'll be nice.
Still to come on the KOAM Morning News, Luc Montagnier, best known for leading the team that discovered the HIV virus, passes away. And a check on our 7-day forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns. Just touch past 5:17. We're rolling up about 20 minutes past the top of the hour on this Friday. Let's start by talking about a little rain that we knew was going to jaunt in on us from the northwest. It's been rather light, trace amounts right now. Picking up just a little bit there on the northwestern edge of Crawford County. If you do have to go up toward the Kansas City area, that's a little bit more up there, that is for sure. As far as what we're seeing on the old Skywatch storm trackers. As a matter of fact, Mother Nature right now, Mother Nature's like, no, Michael, I don't want you to come see what the rain, and I'm like, Mother Nature, I've got a plan for this weathercast, and we're going to pull it off. So here we are tracking about just to the west of Pittsburgh, line up toward Kansas City. They're getting some good rain, though, up here. So if you got to be on 49 and make your way know that you could run into pretty good rainfall up there. If you're going to be out and about in KC, definitely take an umbrella. Let's go to one of the tower cams. Now, this is not in our area. This is southbound 71 up by KC, but I just wanted to illustrate. Here, you see right here in the light, you can see pretty good raindrops coming down. Obviously, the highway very, very wet. So an indicator just what they have up to the north. Once again, I reiterate, that's not one of our highlighted counties. 50 already in Joplin, 47 in Chanute. Let's roll 49 in Carthage. So you put that in comparison to what we've had the past couple of mornings, or afternoons have been delightful. We're going to have almost a repeat. It is going to be windier, that is for sure, than it was yesterday, already blowing in at 18 miles per hour. But since it comes out of the south-southwest, look at these 24-hour temperature changes. This is in respect with what we had at this point in time yesterday. Double digits all throughout southwest Missouri, and still a nice little bump up in southeast Kansas and northeast Oklahoma at an 11-degree increase. That's part of that band right there. The trough of the jet stream, it was kind of hanging over us yesterday. This thing really moved up to the northeast, up to the Great Lakes, and that's what's going to usher that rain, kind of turn it almost into a U shape right there. And so that's why just on the back end of this, we won't have any problems. We've been talking about the heat out to the west. It's going to be a hot Super Bowl. I'm telling you, they're breaking records up down in Crossways out there. For our afternoon planner, while we haven't come close to any records, it's still been delightful and will be today as well, as we're up into the 50s. Now remember, once we hit midnight, that's when the drastic changes begin, as we will drop down temperature-wise to the point where when you wake up on, say, Saturday morning, hopefully you get to sleep in a little bit, but we'll be talking about wind chills that'll be in the teens, if not single digits, for Saturday morning into the afternoon hours. Nice little rebound, though. Still looking at a great Valentine's Day. Highs around 55, partly sunny skies. Time now to turn our attention to the KOAM News Now Facebook page and our morning Insta poll. Whether you're rooting for the Rams or the Bengals, halftime performance is going to be pretty big this year. You got hip-hop legends taking the largest stage for what is going to be a historic show. Danye Bacchus with a preview. Danye's in L.A.
Super Bowl 56 halftime show is shaping up to be one of the most legendary.
We got the queen of R&B.
Yep.
We got the king of hip-hop.
History will be made when hip-hop heavyweights Snoop Dogg, Eminem, Kendrick Lamar, and the queen of hip-hop soul, Mary J. Blige, join music mogul Dr. Dre on stage, making it the first ever performance with rap artists as the headliners.
We're going to go on and do a fantastic show, and we're going to do it so big that they can't deny us anymore in the future.
The vision is to do what I do, just leave it all on the stage.
With 5 icons taking the stage and an extensive catalog of hits to choose from, Dr. Dre says the 12-minute show will be epic.
We want to make sure everybody knows that this is one of the best halftime shows ever. We're going to show exactly how professional we can be, how dope we can be on stage, and how exciting we're going to be to the fans.
And for the first time, 2 American Sign Language artists, deaf musician Sean Forbes and Warren Wawa Snipe, will sign the big show. Traditionally, interpreters have only been used for the pregame. For Dre and Snoop, performing at the Super Bowl in their hometown with a home team vying for the title is a dream come true.
This is a blessing because the Super Bowl is the biggest sporting event in the world, and hip-hop is the biggest form of music in the world.
Yep.
And for us to be able to have the opportunity to bring the two worlds together.
Specific details of the show are being kept under wraps, but if this 4-minute trailer is any indication, it's sure to be one that is talked about for years to come.
It's going to be magnifico.
Dr. Dre is the name, I'm ahead of my game.
Danya Bacchus, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Oh, it was pretty cool yesterday when it came out that Snoop Dogg just announced that he bought Death Row Records. Death Row was the label that Snoop came up with in the early 90s, and it had been through a number of ownership changes. But back when Snoop was on it, Dr. Dre, Suge Knight, kind of a conglomerate. They're the ones who brought up Snoop Dogg, produced his records, and yes, he now owns that record label. All right, so we got some other big names on the list. Country music artist Mickey Guyton, she's going to sing the national anthem. R&B singer Jenny Aiko, she'll perform America the Beautiful, and the gospel act Mary Mary, performing Lift Every Voice and Sing. And this is awesome right here. They're going to be accompanied by the Youth Orchestra of Los Angeles. Our question for you this morning, what is your favorite part of Super Bowl parties? We've got kind of a laundry list of options: food, company, game, commercials, or the halftime show. Let us know what you think. We'll get to your results a little bit later. Come back and do Healthwatch next.
Topping Healthwatch this morning, the family of Bob Saget says he died from head trauma after accidentally hitting his head and most likely thought nothing of it and went to sleep. Laura Podesta has advice from a medical expert on when to take a blow to the head seriously.
Bob Saget's family says the comedian, actor, and TV host who died last month accidentally hit the back of his head on something, thought nothing of it, and went to sleep. Medical experts say he may have suffered an epidural hematoma.
It can be insidious. There's no way of telling that you've had this bleed underneath your skull unless you get a CT scan to rule it out.
Dr. Oscar Gillamondegi runs a clinic for long-term traumatic brain injuries at Vanderbilt University Medical Center. He says a blow to the head without any other symptoms that causes death is rare, but can happen.
Any blow that you're concerned about to the head should be checked out. It's that simple. I can tell you that we have folks that fall in the bathroom and they hit the head on the edge of the sink, on the bathtub, on the toilet bowl, will come in and have a major head injury.
He says anyone over 40 is at higher risk for traumatic brain injury. People on blood thinners, including aspirin, are more likely to have a bleed. And people who have symptoms post-injury, including loss of consciousness or headaches, should definitely be checked out.
What typically happens is it happens during the daytime and somebody sees you go down and they call 911. But in this case, there was nobody there to say, oh my gosh, Bob Saget fainted or passed out or whatever. And so he ended up falling asleep and dying peacefully in his sleep.
In a statement, Bob Saget's family went on to say, remember the love and laughter that Bob brought to this world and the lessons he taught us all, to be kind to everyone, to let the people you love know you love them, and to face difficult times with hugs and laughter. Laura Podesta, CBS News, New York.
The doctor that was spoken with also says that it's a myth that you've got to keep someone awake who has suffered a blow to the head and check them every hour. In fact, the brain needs rest, and being in a dark place without a lot of stimuli is good for the brain's recovery. The CDC is proposing changes that could make it easier for doctors to prescribe opioids. 6 years ago, the agency toughened opioid guidelines to try to curb the overdose epidemic. But some argued it also made it difficult for patients with chronic pain to get needed painkillers. The new guidelines would remove limits on doses and advises doctors to make individual prescription decisions based on the patient's needs. Men with high levels of body fat break their bones much easier, according to a new study. Researchers from the Endocrine Society say many people assume those with higher body weight have higher bone density, but a study of more than 10,000 patients found the opposite is true. The study recommends doctors screen overweight patients for osteoporosis more often. A well-known treatment for heart attack and stroke patients isn't as risky as previously thought. A large study by the UT Southwestern Medical Center found the clot-busting drug Alteplase helped stroke patients recover and did not increase the risk of bleeding. Many doctors have previously withheld the drug over concern there could be complications. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. Coming up, a business in Joplin, Missouri experiences frustrations as the Joplin police give him the runaround on solving his thefts.
Already a little blustery on this Friday morning, but as long as these wind arrows come in from the south, that means warmer temperatures before the cold front arrives. Oh, we've got one more day. The latest from the Skywatch Weather Center.
Also, a sinkhole opens in Joplin, and now Joplin Public Works have to figure out what to do with it.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:30. I'm Bronte Sorotsky. And Michael, we were saying it's pretty nice for February right now.
Can't beat it.
Pretty different than last year.
Cannot beat it. Even with a little morning rain that we're picking up, Bronte, by the time we get to the afternoon, it's going to be absolutely delightful. But like I said when we started this half hour, one more day is what we got before the cold reemerges. We are picking up some raindrops there, moving just now through the right through the state line, about to cross into southwest Missouri. Work up toward the north. That's where they've had the harder rain. Trace amounts. We haven't picked up a whole bunch of accumulation so far, but if you're in that area, Joplin probably our cutoff right there. I don't think we'll get any far south than that. If you got to be out and about here in the next 10 to 15 minutes, I'd grab the umbrella. Like I said, it's not going to last all day by any means, but it come in handy. Warm temperatures right now. Joplin's already up to 50 degrees. Chanute at 47. Carthage 49. Even our low spots like Miami at 43, that's certainly not too bad. Got to take I-49 up toward KC. That's where you'll run into some rain. Anywhere else that you're headed on this Friday, you are clear and good to go. Now, as we kind of take a look at what we've got for the afternoon, increased cloud cover. We'll actually have more sun early, and then the clouds build during the afternoon and evening, almost the opposite of what we had past couple of days. And this is the key factor right here as we push from Friday into Saturday, because that's when our temperatures just go straight down on us. We won't have any precipitation to worry about flipping over as we drop below the freezing mark, but we will have wind chills that are down into the teens. 7-day forecast shows us that after the Saturday's chill, we do get a little bit of a warm up on Sunday. Sunday's not too bad, 42. And then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we're right back into the 60s. Now, speaking of Wednesday, Bronte, that's when we will turn our attention to some good old-fashioned thunderstorm activity for February.
Oh, no.
It's been a while since we talked about that.
Yeah, well, thanks, Michael. The city of Mulberry, Kansas in Crawford County can move forward with a lawsuit against one of the world's largest energy companies. The city alleges BP gouged them with high price increases during last February's freezing weather. A Crawford County judge dismissed a motion by the company to end the lawsuit, which allows residents to sue BP for allegedly violating anti-profiteering laws. In February of last year, the city of fewer than 500 residents received a bill for $51,000. BP yesterday announced a 2021 profit of $12.8 billion. If you own a private collection of antiques and other interesting and historic items, now's the chance to show them to the world. The History Channel program American Pickers is coming to Fort Scott, Kansas in April. Officials with the show are asking private collectors to reach out by March 4th to be featured on the program. We've put information on how you can apply on our website, KUAMnewsnow.com. Joplin police have fenced off a sinkhole that opened up in Landreth Park. Police say the hole appears to be about 25 feet deep and there's water at the bottom. Joplin Public Works is trying to figure out what to do about the hole. For now, they've put up a temporary fence. Missouri's Special House Committee on Urban Issues sends a bill to the House that addresses hair discrimination. The legislation, dubbed the Crown Act, is supported by Democrat Rachel Prouty and Republican Shamed Dogan. It would prohibit discrimination on the basis of hair texture and protective hairstyles in schools that receive state funding. Protective hairstyles include styles such as braids, locks, and twists. A similar bill failed to gain much traction in the legislature last year, but Prouty said she believes the language in this year's version is stronger. 14 other states have passed Crown Acts, so have several cities, including Kansas City and St. Louis. A Joplin business owner is frustrated, saying he's the victim of crimes that the Joplin Police Department isn't doing enough to solve. KUAM's Chris Warner spoke to him.
Joshua Maresh owns Jomo Moving and Jomo Bazaar, located on East 32nd Street in Joplin. Since December of 2020, his shop has been broken into twice.
Between money and jewelry, laptops, iPads, you name it. I mean, we lost thousands of dollars worth of stuff here.
But that's not all the thieves have hit. They've taken checks and bank account information. The most frustrating part for Maresh is the response he got from the Joplin Police Department after reporting the crimes.
They paid bills in their own names, so I provided the detective with all these names, but they still weren't being arrested. So I was, harassing them and asking them why, and I was very shocked at one of his answers one day. He literally asked me if I got my money back from the bank, if the bank returned my money, and I told him yes, sir. And he asked me what I was worried about it for then. Why was I worried about it? Well, because someone committed a crime.
We reached out to the Joplin Police Department, who said they don't comment on active investigations. Captain Will Davis did tell us that if anyone has an issue with the department or a specific officer, they should report it to the department so Internal Affairs can work with the citizen to solve the issue. Maresh says 2 detectives he spoke to told him they're overworked and underpaid with a significant caseload. Maresh says he understands that, and he wants the department to understand he's not standing against them.
I am not, anti-law enforcement officers. I'm not. I mean, these guys have a hard job, and I appreciate what they do. What they do out there. They put their lives on the line, and I want that to be known. I'm just a little bitter that I've been the victim of crime here multiple times in this town, and not one has ever been solved.
In Joplin, Chris Warner, KOAM News.
Maresh says he has a warehouse location where 5 catalytic converters were stolen off of his trucks. He says those cases have also not been solved. Now here's Michael with a look at your forecast.
A little light rain coming down throughout southeast Kansas, just now making its way over the state line into southwest Missouri. Everything pushing pretty much east-southeast. I don't think we're going to get farther south than Joplin. You live on the north side, though, or if you got to go north, I'd definitely throw the umbrella in the car. Not anything severe. Like I said, it's pretty light in our neck of the woods. Kansas City's they've got quite a bit of rain that's coming down right now, but just to the north of our highlighted counties. Mid-50s increased cloud cover today. Remember, after we get past midnight, the cold front comes in and our temperatures, they go straight down. So there's where we are for the afternoon, and then those skies clear off, and wind chill is going to be down to the teens, if not single digits tomorrow morning. 7-day forecast. Bundle up tomorrow. Going to need a coat on Sunday as well. Valentine's Day looking great, though. Highs around 55, partly sunny skies. This morning on the KOAM News Now Facebook page and our morning Insta poll, talking Super Bowl parties. Got a legendary lineup set up for Super Bowl halftime this year. The Bengals, as far as the game goes, Bengals are playing for the first time since 1988. They gave me some stuff here in the script that I'm supposed to talk about. Some guy named Joe Montana. Thank you for killing my Friday, control room. Appreciate that. And the Rams, get this. The control room's just eating it up. Control room knows that the Rams are making their first Super Bowl appearance since 2001 when they were the St. Louis Rams. Of course, they lost Tom Brady, which is a team that I was covering at the time. Now, 2000 was awesome. Greatest show on turf. That was my first Super Bowl to ever cover. That was tremendous. 2001 broke my heart. So good job, control room, on this Friday. Well, thank you for putting the good in my day. I can hear them laughing through the soundproof glass, folks. Our question for you this morning, what is your favorite part of Super Bowl parties? Right now, 67% of you say not really concerned about the game, it's about the commercials, and 33% of you say the game. Other than that, we haven't had anybody chime in, whether it be food, company, or the halftime show, but you can make your voice heard, maybe it is one of those, by going to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote or connecting to us via our Facebook page. Bronte?
All right, well, that's a look at some of our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. A 57-year-old cold case finally gives a family closure. Plus, Prince Charles diagnosed with COVID for a second time. We'll have the latest. You're watching the KOAM Morning News, more real news in the morning. We'll be right back. Topping World Watch, the French scientist who helped discover HIV, the virus that causes AIDS, has died. French officials confirm Luc Montagnier died Tuesday at the American Hospital of Paris. Montagnier led the team in 1983 that identified the HIV virus, which led him to share the Nobel Peace Prize in Medicine with his colleague, Francois Barré-Sinosse. In 2008, more recently, Montagnier has been an outspoken opponent of coronavirus vaccines. He was 89 years old. No other details about his death have been released. Prince Charles has tested positive for COVID-19 for a second time. Clarence House confirmed the diagnosis Thursday, saying the future King of England is self-isolating. The statement added Charles is canceling all events he's due to appear at and will be rescheduling as soon as possible. The Prince of Wales, who was 73 years old, previously tested positive for COVID back in March 2020. He is triple vaccinated. Prince William arrived for his first official visit to the United Arab Emirates. The Duke of Cambridge started his visit Thursday by heading to Abu Dhabi's Jubail Mangrove Park. He planted trees with students and talked about conservation efforts. The British royal is later expected to meet with Dubai Crown Prince Sheikh Hamdan bin Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum to reinforce the relationship between the UK and the UAE. William plans to tour the $7 billion grounds of the Dubai Expo site and meet with UK sports figures participating in the Queen's Baton Relay. That's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. We'll be right back with the news you need to know before you head out the door. Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. The city of Mulberry, Kansas in Crawford County can move forward with a lawsuit against one of the world's largest energy companies. The city alleges BP gouged them with high price increases during last February's freezing weather. A Crawford County judge dismissed a motion by the company to end the lawsuit, which allows residents to sue BP for allegedly violating anti-profiteering laws. In February of last year, the city of fewer than 500 residents received a bill for $51,000. BP yesterday announced a 2021 profit of $12.8 billion. If you own a private collection of antiques and other interesting and historic items, now is the chance to show them to the world. The History Channel program American Pickers is coming to Fort Scott, Kansas in April. Officials with the show are asking private collectors to reach out by March 4th to be featured on the program. We've put information on how you can apply on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. Kansas lawmakers signed off on the state's largest ever taxpayer-funded incentives program without knowing what company gets the incentives. Officials say the incentives will attract thousands of new jobs to the state, but most don't know the name of the company or what it plans to make. The bill now goes to Governor Laura Kelly. Her administration says it's pursuing a $4 billion project, but has not said what the project is. Joplin police have fenced off a sinkhole that opened up in Landreth Park. Police say the hole appears to be about 25 feet deep, and there's water at the bottom. Joplin Public Works trying to figure out what to do about the hole. For now, they've put up a temporary fence. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
Tell you what, Bronte, that was a rather impressive sinkhole right there. That video shows you, wow, 25 feet? My goodness. Already a little blustery on this Friday morning, coming in double digits, but at least it's coming in out of the southwest. Let's talk a little bit about our rain that we have, because we're seeing it now spread across the state line from southeast Kansas into southwest Missouri. A little southern dip, hasn't got to Joplin as of yet. It's been very light rain, the majority of the more intense stuff staying up to the north of our highlighted counties and then crossing I-70 on the east side of Kansas City. If you do have to jump on 49, though, probably going to run into it, windshield wipers, and I'd throw the umbrella in there just to be on the safe side. Not going to last all day, no need to worry about that. Part of a low pressure system that's moving up toward the Great Lakes and not going to really have a bearing on our late morning, afternoon hours. Temperatures already sitting at 50 degrees in Joplin, and we've got 49 here in Carthage, 43 in Parsons. So a great start to our Friday. Increasing cloud cover, kind of even out in the mid to high 50s right there. We may see an occasional 60, but here's the big factor is what happens is once we get into Saturday morning and our temperatures begin to plummet down. It is going to be chilly when you walk out the door tomorrow morning. Probably about single-digit wind chills there in between 8 and 9 o'clock. 7-day forecast. Sunday's not too bad. At least we get some sunshine. Monday, Valentine's Day, right back into the 50s. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News right after this.
A 20-year-old college student with a passion for genealogy helps crack a 57-year-old cold case. The case involves a 9-year-old girl who was murdered and raped in 1964. Dylan Fearon has more on the story.
Always told not to get attached to a case, but you can't help it.
Detectives never gave up. A family which waited almost 58 years never gave up.
Justice has been served today.
The 4 siblings of Marisa Chivarella have closure. They now know who murdered their 9-year-old sister in 1964. The cold case has been cracked. Police say DNA samples prove James Paul Fort raped and murdered little Marisa.
This is an exact match.
Cops found Marisa's body near the Hazleton airport. They investigated for decades, even running the killer's DNA through databases every month for the last 15 years. It wasn't until genealogist Eric Schuber teamed up with state police. DNA and genealogy tracing led to a distant family member who was a match. Their DNA samples led investigators to Fort. He's been dead since 1980, but police obtained a DNA sample from his remains. It came back a match last week.
This was probably the hardest thing that I've ever done in my entire life.
Marisa's siblings, now in their 60s and 70s, are remembering their little sister. She went to school at what's now called Holy Family Academy. Marisa's resting at the St. Joseph Cemetery.
Very loving, had a great sense of humor. As youngsters,
We would tease her, she would tease us.
It's very gratifying, and quite honestly, it's a relief that it's done.
Detectives also say even though Fort murdered Marisa, he stayed in the Hazleton community until he died.
Our great regret that we do not get to prosecute the individual responsible. However, I believe the family said it best that he will face his own vengeance where he is right now.
We'll be right back with a final look at your forecast.
Little rain for the northern portion of the 4 states, but this afternoon, even with increasing cloud cover, going to get up into the mid-50s. Now, here we go. After we get into Saturday morning, Saturday at midnight is probably going to be the warmest temperature we see on Saturday, because we just go down, down, down on the mercury to the point where we're going to talk about low 20s, single-digit wind chills for Saturday morning in between about 8 and 9 a.m. Even the afternoon, not much of a rebound. They're going to be hard-pressed to get back to the freezing mark. Sunday is looking much better, up to 42 degrees, and still a delightful Valentine's Day. It's partly sunny skies, highs around 55. We're going to talk about that Friday morning rain right after this.
Never lie to a judge when you're in court.
Judge Judy. Dear Winter, my squad of 16 vehicles with all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive is revving to go. Bundle up, Toyota.
Every new Toyota comes with Toyota Care, our no-cost maintenance plan with 24-hour roadside assistance. Toyota, let's go places.
Hello, 4 States. I'm Chad Evans, president of Arvest Bank. On behalf of all of our associates, I want to say thank you for nominating us as a 4 States Finest Award finalist. At Arvest, we are here to help you with financial solutions that fit your life. Thank you for letting us serve you.
Voting is happening right now for the 4 States Finest, our 2022 Viewers' Choice Award for KOAM News Now. Go to KOAMNewsNow.com/finest and vote for the finalist you think is the best. Vote on many categories, including health, fitness, shopping, restaurants, and more. You choose the finest, and each week, one voter will be randomly chosen to win $100. It's the 4 States Finest. Vote today at KOAMNewsNow.com/finest.
Many have served. Most don't consider themselves heroes, but we do. And we proudly say their names in every newscast every day. 4 State Heroes from KOAM, your Midwest Ford dealers, and Downstream Casino Resort. Dear Winter, my squad of 16 vehicles with all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive is revving to go.
Coming up, a 4 State business owner frustrated after he says police gave him the runaround on solving a string of thefts.
A little Friday morning rain that we need to address, but we've still got one more day before the cold front arrives. The latest from the Skywatch Weather.
Also, a sinkhole opens up and a public works department has to figure out what to do with it.
The 4 States Most Watched News starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KUAM Morning News. It's 6 a.m. I'm Bronte Sorotsky. Those stories plus an audit into possible misuse of COVID funds in our 4 states coming up. But first, we check in with Michael in the Skywatch Weather Center.
All right, here's what we're looking at, Bronte, as far as our rain goes. Making its way across the Kansas-Missouri state line. Little southerly push down in just through Cherokee County right now. It's just very, very light rain that we're talking about. Trace amounts. We haven't even really been able to fill up the rain gauge at the mothership. Now, as you work up to the north, though, especially if you're going to have to be on 49, you can tell it really begins to pick up right here after you get up on, say just before 435 right there. But once again, we're not looking at anything severe. It's going to jut off here. It really shouldn't have any effect on our travel. I did want to point this out. This is Tower Cam. This is up in Kansas City, however. This is southbound 50. But you can tell highway is very, very wet right there. Almost some raindrops splattered on the camera. Just gives you an idea, if you do have to go up to the north, what you're going to be running into. 7th and range line, dry, clear, calm as can be. 50 degrees is what we're sitting at right now. Wind is going to play a factor today. Going to work in from the south-southwest. But directionally speaking, means great Friday morning temps. We're talking about pre-sunrise in February. And a lot of these numbers are probably where we should be during a normal afternoon. 49 in Carthage, 46 in Chanute, though Miami in at 46 as well. Because what we're seeing this do is take all this cold air and kind of shift it toward the Great Lakes And that keeps us from absorbing all that cold Canadian air right there. As far as the West Coast goes, of course, all eyes on it. We're coming up on Super Bowl Sunday, abnormally warm there in the midst of some record-breaking heat right there. They'll easily be sitting at about 70 degrees probably Sunday for kickoff. Afternoon planner going to take us here in the 4 states up to the mid to high 50s. We will have increased cloud cover. Overnight is where it gets interesting, because once we turn that clock into Saturday, our wind chills begin to plummet. Look at that, single digits in between about 8, 9, 30. Actual temperatures, say low 20s at that point in time. And then even when we get into the afternoon and evening hours, still wind chills 20s and teens. Sunday does get better. A little sunshine gets us into the 40s. Great looking Valentine's Day as well. 55 degrees, partly sunny skies.
Not loving those low temps, but definitely looking for the nice mild.
I think what Mother Nature's doing is giving everyone an excuse to sleep in on Saturday morning. For those of you that do have to be out and about, please, multiple layers. And for those of you that want to be a part of a great cause, no matter what the weather, no matter what happens, I strongly encourage you to join me and Lieutenant Chris Moore of the Pittsburgh Police Department and 200 of our closest friends for the Polar Plunge tomorrow morning. We're going to do that at Crimson Villas in Pittsburgh, largest fundraiser of the year for the Special Olympics. And so please, no matter what the weather, folks, we're going to jump in that pool. Come help these fabulous world-class athletes that we have in the 4 states compete. You know, Bronte, it always amazes me when I talk to people about the Polar Plunge and the importance of it and what it means. How many places do you know that you've ever been through? You're a reporter that's traveled this entire area. How many places do you know that when you cruise into their town, they have billboards up because they have world-class athletes that have won gold medals? There's not a lot.
Yeah, I haven't seen many. Well,
There's not a lot. There's 2 of them on Highway 69, folks. And thanks to all of you who come out and help the Polar Plunge, that's why those athletes are able to compete at that level.
Awesome. Well, that sounds like an awesome event, and we're looking forward to it Saturday.
Yes, Saturday. Join us Saturday at 11.
Awesome. We'll be there. Thanks, Michael. An Oklahoma audit reveals some possible issues with the state's spending of coronavirus funds. Chin Doan takes a look at the amount of money at what's at stake in the Sooner State.
Oklahoma State Auditor and Inspector Cindy Bird says there have been concerns of improper use of funds by the state health department. The audit's findings include there was no supporting documentation that PPE was received after payments. The state paid for PPE before receiving it, which violates the state constitution. There were one-time purchases in excess of the allowable $250,000. The Secretary for Health did not have authority to delegate purchasing authority, and there were inadequate controls regarding the PPE inventory system. Senator George Young, who is on the Health and Human Services Committee, reacts to the findings.
Even in a pandemic, those kind of decisions, you have to come back and get some other input on that. And so that surprised me that it seems like it was literally out of control.
The audit says the state is still missing more than $5.4 million in goods that were paid. As we've reported, $2.1 million was paid to PPE Supplies LLC of Tulsa for N95 masks. Records state Casey Bradford, who's an owner of PPE Supplies LLC, has only refunded a partial payment of $300,000.
And the dollar amounts are just astounding. So this is significant. I think this audit is really important.
The audit also revealed former Health Commissioner Lance Fry had a 40% annual salary increase from $215,000 in July 2020 to $335,000 in January 2021.
Governor Kevin Stitt says the state can acknowledge there were technical errors while still knowing the department did everything to protect citizens. The city of Mulberry, Kansas can move forward with a lawsuit against one of the world's largest energy companies. The city claims BP gouged it with high price increases during last February's freezing weather. A Crawford County judge dismissed a motion by the company to end the lawsuit. That means residents can sue BP for violating anti-profiteering laws. In February of last year, the city of fewer than 500 residents received a bill for $51,000. BP yesterday announced a 2021 profit of $12.8 billion. Joplin police fenced off a sinkhole that opened up in Landreth Park. Police say the hole appears to be about 25 feet deep, and there's water at the bottom. Joplin Public Works trying to figure out what to do about the hole. For now, they've put up a temporary fence. The City of Joplin answers questions about a stormwater system improvement plans in the area of Canterbury Lane and 4th Street. City engineers and representatives from the city's design engineer firm hosted the open house. The project will add a storm sewer on 4th Street, install a paved block ditch off Canterbury Lane, and replace existing pipe culverts on North Park Lane with a box culvert. In Weir, Kansas, the EPA gave residents information about the cleanup process of a nearby Superfund site. Officials say the main concern of the Cherokee Zinc Weir smelter site is lead contamination from years of mining. This meeting gave residents an update on the cleanup, which is still in the investigation phase to come up with a remediation plan.
It's very important because I feel like our community needs to be aware of this. They need to, have precautions in place for young children and our residents and our community here.
The site was added to the national priorities list in September of last year, which allows for extra money for the cleanup. A business owner says he's frustrated with the Joplin Police Department's response following a series of crimes. Josh Maresh owns Jomo Moving and Jomo Bazaar. He says in December of 2020, someone accessed the business's bank account and routing numbers. He says the person then began paying their own bills under their own name. His frustration comes with the police department's response, which he says has been silent.
They've told me they're overworked, underpaid, and that they've got a large caseload. That's what I've been told, time and time and time again. Nothing more. Nothing more. And yes, I've got the names. I went to the businesses that they cashed my checks at, got the evidence, turned everything over to JPD for nothing.
We'll hear more of Maresh's story later in the half hour. A Missouri bill could make it easier for those needing physical therapy to see an expert without the need for a referral from their physician. We spoke with the lawmaker sponsoring the bill and a physical therapist on the impact this could have. It's easy trying to get a doctor's appointment, but for those needing physical therapy, that wait can be brutal.
Well, if they have an injury that's keeping them from doing things they love, that's keeping them from doing the work they need to do at their job, they need to be able to get in within 1 to 2 weeks.
Right now, physical therapists in Missouri need to have a doctor referral before treating a new patient. A state bill will be voted on in the House next week that aims to change that.
So one of the biggest problems with it is, we all know, it's hard to get into your physician, your primary care physician. It could take weeks. And oftentimes you're hurting, right? You pulled a muscle, you did whatever. So what this does is it cuts out that loop to allow people to go directly to physical therapy, and you're also not paying to see your physician.
And that waiting period can affect the outcome of patients' recovery.
So when someone develops an injury that affects their life, they want to get seen now. They don't want to wait weeks. Helps people get treatment faster, and sometimes with brand new injuries, faster treatment means better outcomes.
Gregory says it's about a patient's right to choose the best care for themselves.
You don't have to go directly to the physical therapist, right? You can choose. You can choose to go to your physician first thinking, I don't know if it's a need for physical therapy or it could be something more.
If treatment goes longer than 10 visits or 3 weeks, then the physical therapist would need to speak with the patient's primary provider.
It's not designed to cut out physicians because they're not needed. It's designed to accelerate the situation,
giving patients the ability to choose the best option for their recovery. The bill is approved in next week's House vote. It moves on to the state Senate. A church in Miami helps some families in need put food on the table. New Hope Christian Church's food ministry distribution is a monthly event where people can get bags of food, including meat, cereal, and fruits and vegetables. The church serves around 60 to 70 people per month, using donations from the community.
It does feel good, but at the same time, we're not here for any of the glory of doing it. We're here to do the Lord's work, and we're here to help our community, and that's the purpose of it, and to minister and hopefully get people to come back to our church and visit and be here for our services.
The church hosts a distribution event on the second Thursday of every month. And it's 6:07.
Rain has remained pretty light for the most part, making its way through southeast Kansas in to southwest Missouri right there, moving at a pretty good pace too. You may have to use a windshield wiper. 7th range line still looks clean. No travel concerns. Highs in the high 50s today. Cold front tonight into Saturday morning.
That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, the border blockade.
There are now multiple trucker protests along the U.S. and Canada border. I'm Laura Podesta with what Canadian officials are planning to do to restore important trade routes.
Plus, inflation hits the hardest it has in 4 decades. And later, breaking down questions about mask wearing now that states are easing mandates and restrictions. You're watching the KOAM Morning News, more real news in the morning. We'll be right back. Topping Nation Watch this morning, there are now multiple blockades against along the U.S. and Canada border. As Canadian protesters call for an end to COVID restrictions, U.S. officials are urging their Canadian counterparts to end their disruption along the Ambassador Bridge, a key trade route for automakers. Laura Podesta has the latest on the border blockade.
The city of Windsor, Ontario is seeking a court order to remove the trucks blocking the Ambassador Bridge.
They don't have the right to affect you or your family's ability to earn a living, and they've gone too far.
Now in its 5th day, the blockade is slowing down the auto industry in Canada and the U.S.
There are hardworking men and women in an industry that's just getting back to full strength who are now going to be out of a job, at least temporarily.
GM, Ford, and Toyota are among several companies that cut production at plants on both sides of the border due to a lack of parts.
At the best case scenario, we might be back in production early next week, assuming the blockade gets cleared today or tomorrow.
25% of all trade between the two countries passes over the bridge. Some of that has been redirected to nearby routes. Protesters want an end to Canada's COVID restrictions. Blockades have spread to 2 other crossings north of Montana and North Dakota.
We have a right as Americans and Canadians to stand up for what we believe in is right for our bodies and our life.
There are concerns a trucker convoy could start this weekend at the Super Bowl in Los Angeles.
I think DHS is going to let things play out and be very alert for the possibility of violence.
CBS News has learned the Department of Homeland Security is bringing in additional staff to its incident command post in LA. Laura Podesta, CBS News.
Enforcement believe the convoy may travel from California to Washington, D.C. and arrive in time for President Biden's State of the Union next month. The American Trucking Association's president issued a statement yesterday saying it strongly opposes any protest activities that disrupt public safety and compromise the economic and national security of the United States. That's a look at today's top national stories. We'll be right back.
Sometimes the best thing to do is to walk outside and check for yourself. So that's what I did, because according to the radar, we should have some rain here at the mothership. And there were a couple drops that fell. That was about the extent of it. So if your neighborhood is in the green, especially right along the state line, it's certainly not pummeling down on you. It does get a little bit more intense there as we work up into the northern portion of the 4 states. So if you're going to be on 49, making your way up toward Kansas City, that's probably your best shot for rain. This is the 44-49 exchange right there, and you can tell 44 is still dry as can be. So we do not have any travel concerns, haven't had any raindrops show up yet. At 7th and Rangeline either, where we sit at 50 degrees, pre-sunrise February morning at 50 degrees. That is truly something else. 46 in Miami and in Pittsburgh, 49 in Carthage. And let's roll 46s in both Neodesha and Chanute. As far as the national picture goes, we're just on the far western edge of that band that eventually turns into snow there as you reach the Great Lakes. So luckily we don't have to worry about that. As far as what we're looking at for our afternoon, increasing cloud cover, lifting us up though into the mid to high 50s. And we'll scrape a 60 every now and then. Key factor is what happens overnight as we get ready for Saturday morning. Here are the wind chills that are expected for Saturday morning. There we are, single digits about 9 a.m. And even as we get to the afternoon hours, still going to hang mostly in the teens. See the 20s in southeast Kansas, back into the teens there for Sunday morning. Sunday afternoon does get a little bit better as we're able to make it up into the 40s. Valentine's Day, right back into the 50s with partly sunny skies. So a perfect Valentine's Day. A warm-up for next week until we get to the middle of the week. And then we start talking about thunderstorm activity. The Biden administration facing some grim economic news. Inflation at a 40-year high, up more than 7% in the past year alone. As Caitlin Collins shows us, that's raising pressure on the Federal Reserve to take drastic action to try to get control of prices.
President Biden promising all hands on deck tonight after inflation was worse than he expected in January.
Inflation is up. It's up.
The Labor Department says prices were 7.5% higher in January than a year ago, the largest and fastest increase since Ronald Reagan was in office. From gas to groceries, used cars to electricity, Americans are feeling the pinch almost everywhere, posing a massive political problem for President Biden.
Coming from a family when the price of gas went up, you felt it in the household. You knew what it was like. It matters.
The worse than expected numbers coming after the president told CNN in December he believed inflation had hit its peak.
I think it's the peak of the crisis, and I think you'll see it change sooner than quicker, than more rapidly than it will take than most people think.
Tonight, Biden quoting forecasters who believe inflation will drop substantially by the end of 2022.
I'm going to work like the devil to bring gas prices down.
Democratic Senator Joe Manchin, who put a dagger in Biden's Build Back Better plan over his concerns on inflation, is now casting doubt on any further government spending for the time being.
I've been ringing the alarm bell for forever. I mean, for the last year about inflation. Nobody's been listening. Now we're seeing a basic threat. It's a 7.5% tax on everybody, on every product you buy. It's just unbelievable.
Manchin also upping the pressure on the Federal Reserve to act quickly.
It's the only way they've ever been able to control it. I mean, you've got to stop it down. I mean, if you don't, it's going to continue to run.
Republican Senator Mitch McConnell is blaming Democrats' policies for soaring prices.
The severity of this inflation was directly fueled by the reckless, far-left spending spree that every single Democrat in this chamber voted to ram through at President Biden's behest last year.
A new poll conducted by CNN delivering more bad news to the president tonight, finding that nearly 6 in 10 Americans disapprove of his time in office, and most of those say there's literally nothing Biden has done that they approve of. Just 41% approve of the job Biden is doing, as overall Americans say his first year in office has been more of a failure than a success.
Those numbers, President Biden's approval rating for handling the economy alone dipped 8 points, down to 37% since early December. Be back with Healthwatch next.
Topping Healthwatch this morning, every day it seems harder to answer the question when and where to mask up. But most states now say you do not have to. Amy Kiley has an update on current recommendations.
To mask or not to mask? That is the question. When it comes to the answer, state and federal authorities increasingly seem at odds.
It is confusing. It's worrisome to people. They're trying to figure out. But what I've tried to do, I've tried to make sure we have all the vaccines needed, all the boosters needed, all the masks needed, all the protection that's needed.
President Joe Biden is backing up the CDC. It recommends people mask up in indoor public spaces if they live in areas with higher substantial transmission. That's most of the country. But only 8 states still require masks inside public spaces. And 5 of those say that'll change within the next couple months.
We believe that through the Department of Health, through all the data that we have, that we're trending in an area that's going to be very safe for our local districts to make up their decision.
The mixed messages leave a lot of people confused. To help, experts are weighing in.
It's still raining a lot of virus out there. As part of those CDC projections, they still think that over the next 4 weeks, 60,000 more people could die. I mean, these are still just tragic numbers. At the same time, the numbers are coming down, and we know Omicron is not as deadly. It doesn't make people as sick as these previous variants.
In the end, the CDC mainly just offers COVID-19 guidance, not mandates.
I think every state's got to make its decision.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
That's a look at today's top health story. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back. Coming up, a 4-states business owner frustrated after he says police gave him the runaround on solving a string of thefts.
Looks can be a little deceiving this time of year when we get to the radar. We are picking up some light precipitation and one more day of above average temperatures before a weekend cold front.
Also, a sinkhole opens up and a public works department has to figure out what to do with it.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6:30. I'm Bronte Sorotsky. Those stories plus possibly more options on the horizon for people who rely or need physical therapy. But first, we check in with Michael in the Skywatch Weather Center.
Thank you, Bronte. What we are picking up on the radar is some very, very light raindrops. Doesn't even really equivocate to a drizzle. In most places, I walked outside, had to wait for about 30 seconds before I even got hit by a single drop. So a lot of this evaporating, especially when we get down here in the Joplin area. Our tower cam at 7th and range line remains dry. We're seeing a little bit of it pick up right along the state line as it works its way to the east, as indicated with that movement right there. Temperatures delightful for early February morning. Joplin already checking in at 50 degrees. Let's remember, as we get toward midnight, the big cold front drops in on us. We're going to go from, say, about 34 degrees when we get to Saturday morning, all the way down to, say, 23 degrees for Saturday afternoon. Wind chill is going to be single digits tomorrow morning.
Oh no, I'm not looking forward to that. Thanks, Michael. A Joplin business owner is frustrated, saying he's the victim of crimes that the Joplin Police Department isn't doing enough to solve. KOAM's Chris Warner spoke with him.
Joshua Maresh owns Jomo Moving and Jomo Bazaar, located on East 32nd Street in Joplin. Since December of 2020, his shop has been broken into twice.
Between money and jewelry, laptops, iPads, you name it. I mean, we lost thousands of dollars worth of stuff here.
But that's not all the thieves have hit. They've taken checks and bank account information. The most frustrating part for Maresh is the response he got from the Joplin Police Department after reporting the crimes.
They paid bills in their own names, so I provided the detective with all these names, but they still weren't being arrested. So I was, harassing them and asking them why, and I was very shocked at one of his answers. One day, he literally asked me if I got my money back from the bank, if the bank returned my money, and I told him yes, sir. And he asked me what I was worried about it for then. Why was I worried about it? Well, because someone committed a crime.
We reached out to the Joplin Police Department, who said they don't comment on active investigations. Captain Will Davis did tell us that if anyone has an issue with the department or a specific officer, they should report it to the department so Internal Affairs can work with the citizen to solve the issue. Maresh says 2 detectives he spoke to told him they're overworked and underpaid with a significant caseload. Maresh says he understands that, and he wants the department to understand he's not standing against them.
I am not, anti-law enforcement officers. I'm not. I mean, these guys have a hard job, and I appreciate what they do. What they do out there. They put their lives on the line, and I want that to be known. I'm just a little bitter that I've been the victim of crime here multiple times in this town, and not one has ever been solved.
In Joplin, Chris Warner, KOAM News.
Maresh says he has a warehouse location where 5 catalytic converters were stolen off of his trucks. He says those cases have also not been solved. The city of Mulberry, Kansas can move forward with a lawsuit against one of the world's largest energy companies. The city claims BP gouged it with high price increases during last February's freezing weather. A Crawford County judge dismissed a motion by the company to end the lawsuit. That means residents can sue BP for violating anti-profiteering laws. In February of last year, the city of fewer than 500 residents received a bill for $51,000. BP yesterday announced a 2021 profit of $12.8 billion. Sinkhole that opened up in Landreth Park. Police say the hole appeared to be about 25 feet deep and there's water at the bottom. Joplin Public Works are trying to figure out what to do about the hole. For now, they've put up a temporary fence. A Missouri bill aims to change the way patients of physical therapy can receive treatment. Currently, patients need either a referral or prescription from a doctor to receive physical therapy. House Bill 1555 would change the current law. The bill's sponsor, Representative David Gregory, says it would save patients both time and money.
So one of the biggest problems with it is, we all know, it's hard to get into your physician, your primary care physician. It could take weeks, and oftentimes you're hurting, right? You pulled a muscle, you did whatever. So what this does is it cuts out that loop to allow people to go directly to physical therapy, and you're also not paying to see your physician.
The bill will go through another round of votes in the House next week before it could move to the Senate. In Weir, Kansas, the EPA gave residents information about the cleanup process of a nearby Superfund site. Officials say the main concern of the Cherokee Zinc Weir smelter site is lead contamination from years of mining. This meeting gave residents an update on the cleanup, which is still in the investigation phase, to come up with a remediation plan.
Because I feel like our community needs to be aware of this. They need to, have precautions in place for young children and our residents and our community here.
The site was added to the National Priorities List in September of last year, which allows for extra funding for cleanup.
So Bronte, I stepped outside to check on our rain. Look at this. I don't want to call it ominous, but it's a pretty cool shot. That is outside the mothership, looking off to the east right there. Now, speaking of the rain, starting to pick up some raindrops on the windshields as this thing moves across the state line from southeast Kansas into southwest Missouri. 7th and range line remaining dry. Anything you do see, like I said, right now, it's pretty light sprinkles. Very nice morning temperature-wise. Light jacket will suffice. Remember, the cold front really doesn't kick in until midnight.
That's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. Countdown to kickoff and the food.
About the game, the food is also the star. I'm Danya Backus with why your Super Bowl party could cost you more this year.
Plus, we want to know what's your go-to tailgate fave is. That's our something to talk about. We'll let you weigh in and we'll be right back. In Consumer Watch this morning, Super Bowl Sunday is second only to Thanksgiving when it comes to the amount of food Americans eat. Super Bowl fans are hungry for more than a win. Danya Bacchus shows us just how much food Americans eat on game day and why the spread will cost more.
The big game means big business for Prime Pizza in Los Angeles.
Super Bowl Sunday will do anywhere from 100 to 120% more than a regular Sunday. So you're basically looking at double the volume.
Co-owner Zach Fishman says the preparation started weeks ago. They stocked up on wings and pizza ingredients because this year items are harder to get.
Every week, if not every day, there is something that is missing from an order.
It's also more expensive.
The costs are going up, but so far we've been able to absorb it.
Higher prices aren't just hitting restaurants' bottom lines. Fans at home are also paying more for party favorites.
It's anticipated that we're going to spend 14 to 15% more on our Super Bowl items.
Phil Limpert from supermarketguru.com says some party staples are even higher. 124 million pounds of avocados are expected to be sold this week, even though prices are up 59% over last year. Americans will also spend 30 cents more a pound on the 1.4 billion chicken wings that will be eaten during the big game. And football fans are expected to munch on 112 million pounds of chips and other snacks.
As it relates to snacks, they haven't gone up that much. They've gone up about 1 to 2%.
Higher prices aren't expected to slow down spending or defeat America's love of food. That's why Prime Pizza has its all-star lineup ready to win over customers. Danya Bacchus, CBS News, Los Angeles.
That's it for Consumer Watch. Now let's go over to Michael for our something to talk about.
Thank you, Bronte. This morning we're talking Super Bowl parties, a lineup set for the Super Bowl this year between the Bengals and the Rams. Wonderful halftime show as well. And, with the easing back in post-pandemic, I expect there be several more parties than what we experienced probably past couple of years. But, you've got so many things that go into a Super Bowl party, whether it be the food, whether it be the halftime show, whether it be the commercials, or whether it be the game. So our question to you is, we kind of just split those into different categories right there and ask you, what is your favorite part of the Super Bowl? And 44% of you go with commercials. 38% do have a vested interest in the game. I thought that number may be a little bit lower. 12% looking forward to halftime. I think halftime will be absolutely phenomenal this year. And I'm not even halftime's usually like when I'll go do a little laundry or something. I'm looking forward to halftime. 6% say, yeah, just as long as I'm hanging around people. Evidently, we need to step our game up in the 4 states. Look at that, Bronte. 0% are on board with the food. So, I don't have any pressure then. Nobody's looking forward to it. Make your voice heard each and every morning. Go to komnewsnow.com/vote or connect to us via our Facebook page. We're going to come back and celebrate birthdays and anniversaries. But first, Super Bowl coverage continues. There's a really cool thing coming up on CBS mornings. I'll let Tony explain.
I'm Tony DeCopel. Coming up on CBS Mornings, our annual Super Bowl City Showdown. Michelle Miller in Cincinnati versus Dana Jacobson in Los Angeles. See how the two hometowns stack up off the field. That's coming up on CBS Morning.
We take this time to honor today's four-state hero, Howard Blundell Jr. Sergeant Howard Blundell Jr. served in the Army from 1969 to 1971. Served in Vietnam with the 79th Battalion in the 147th IEM Company. During his service, he earned the Vietnam Service Medal, the Vietnam Campaign Medal, and the Army Commendation Medal. His hometown, Chautauqua, Kansas. We thank you, today's four-state hero, Sergeant Howard Blundell Jr.
List started with the RJC is Riley Jean Clarkson celebrating the big number 4 in Columbus. And Riley Jean wants you to know that these birthday wishes are from Christy Lakin and Riley McNeamer. Riley wishes she could be there for your party, kiddo. Know that they have you in their thoughts. Happy birthday, Riley Jean.
Turning 7 years old.
Oh, yeah.
We have Lane Northcutt, and he is in Mapleton, Kansas. Says you enjoy sports and rodeo. And definitely tell that one by the outfit. Happy birthday, Lane.
Catch you on the Cowboy Channel here in a couple years, Lane. That's what I'm going to be looking for you now. Henry Rector, he is celebrating his 12th birthday. Henry, I want you to have a great day in commerce.
Hadley Hilburn, turning 12 out of Seneca. Your father is Cody Hilburn, head coach at Seneca. Says love from Mimi and Papa. And that is such a cute dog photo.
So this is crazy. Hadley, a happy birthday. I know her dad. I remember I covered her dad when he played high school football.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, Bronte, thank you for making me feel very young right there. And so I've actually met Mimi and Papa, except they were called Mom and Dad back then. Happy birthday, Hadley. Yaiza Gil Gonzalez, celebrating her 13th birthday. Hey, kiddo, welcome to the teenage years. Yaiza is celebrating, I love that picture too. She's in Pittsburgh.
Then out of Webb City, we have Caitlin Sinclair turning 14 years old. Happy birthday, Caitlin.
Take it to the house. Mitchell House. He is now 18, Little Labette County High School Grizzly Pride right there. Happy birthday, Mitchell.
Then out of Yates Center, we have Crickle Cridge turning 27 years old. You have a special birthday message for you. Happiest of days to our Crickle Cridge. We love you and can't wait to see you play a game of Crobble tonight. Love Betty, Ruth, Boot, Budbog, Popo, and Uncle Kunkel.
I don't know how you keep those names. You got it. This woman right here, salt of the earth, because of the men in her life that she takes care of. But luckily, she now has a grandchild, her first grandchild. That's Victoria Lewis that you see Tracy Gilmore holding right there. And Tracy's celebrating her 50th birthday. Tracy, a very happy birthday from the Hayslip family, and thank you for taking care of the Gilmore boys. I got you, Wayne. Tracy celebrating in Parsons.
In Nevada, we have David Martin turning 53 years old. Happy birthday, David. I like your hat.
Hey, our good friend Shonda Ross is celebrating her 61st birthday. Beautiful smile there, Miss Shonda. Happy birthday to her in Scammon.
We have Sandy Goulet Newberry out of Pittsburgh. That is a great photo.
That is a great photo. Miss Sandy, I don't know if somebody caught you off guard or whether you were really excited. I'm gonna go really excited. That is great. Johnny and Bonnie Mozingo, look at this. They are celebrating their 50th anniversary. My goodness. Congratulations to John and Bonnie down in Chautauqua.
We have a special 31st birthday to
Look at that dude.
Walter York. He's actually our own graphic artist Will York's older brother. And in that picture is also his 6-month-old son, Wyatt.
Happy birthday, Mr. Walter. Thank you for keeping your younger brother in line. We greatly appreciate that. That's a good family photo right there. Happy birthday, Walter. Donna Strickland, she is celebrating a birthday in Erie. A very happy birthday to Donna. Vonette Gateway is in Pittsburgh. And Vonette, I want you to know that these happy birthday wishes come from everyone at Mosaic and also your BFF. And a happy birthday to Chuck Stanley. Oh, maybe out at the lake. Enjoy a Friday, Chuck, if you can get out to the lake, because he lives in Farmington.
Hey, and then we also have David Robinson turning...
Not that David Robinson. The Admiral. The basketball player.
Okay.
This is our David Robinson.
I appreciate that.
No, we claim this one. This is our David Robinson.
Yes. Turning 59 in Neosho, we have Jerry Robinson turning 70 out of Buffalo, Kansas. And last but not least, we have an anniversary. Johnny and Janet Zwale.
You got it? You had it?
Yeah. Zwalen
Yeah.
out of Chitopa.
You nailed it. Johnny and Janet, a very happy anniversary to you both. Long time no see. Here's where you can send your pictures into, birthdays at KOAMTV.com, or you can also go to our website, KOAMNewsNow.com, or if you're one of my favorite medical professionals, you just send it to me on my phone and I make sure it gets on. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Now here's Bronte Saratsky with a very important birthday announcement.
You can be part of the KOAM Birthday Club by going to our website and signing up, and you can get special deals from local businesses. So go to KOAMNewsNow.com and sign up for the KOAM Birthday Club today.
On over to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. We're going to keep our stories rolling, and you're going to want to check this one out. You know, going viral is a good thing, and I actually saw this story yesterday. For one pizzeria, well, you gots to be careful what you put on your advertising materials, because sometimes the advertising crew will have just a little fun with what they put in your graphics. We're going to find out exactly why this is causing a little bit of an uproar when we flip on over to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. We'll be back right after this.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. The city of Mulberry, Kansas in Crawford County can move forward with a lawsuit against one of the world's largest energy companies. The city alleges BP gouged them with high price increases during last February's freezing weather. In February of last year, the city of fewer than 500 residents received a bill for $51,000. BP yesterday announced a 2021 profit of $12.8 billion. Joplin police have fenced off a sinkhole that opened up in Lambeth Park. Police say the hole appears to be about 25 feet deep, and there's water at the bottom. Joplin Public Works trying to figure out what to do about the hole. For now, they've put up a temporary fence. Kansas lawmakers signed off on the state's largest ever taxpayer-funded incentives program without knowing what company gets the incentives. Officials say the incentives will attract thousands of new jobs to the state, but most don't know the name of the company or what it plans to make. The bill now goes to Governor Laura Kelly. Her administration says it's pursuing a $4 billion project, but has not said what the project is. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
Here's a live look outside of Television City. Heavy cloud cover, and yes, we have had some raindrops. So look at the Skywatch storm tracker, where really the majority of the heavier rain has stayed to our far northwest, but you'd be wise just to throw an umbrella in there, especially for the central part as it moves off to the east. Still, no worries about driving conditions, and extremely nice this morning as well. Light jacket will suffice, and eventually into the upper to mid 50s. Now remember, overnight, that's when the cold front hits. As soon as we turn that clock into Saturday, right after midnight, we go steadily downward to the point where our wind chills will be in the single digits in between, say, about 8, 9:30 tomorrow morning.
Oof.
Ooh,
jacket.
Ooh is right.
Yeah. Coming up today at noon, satisfy your sweet tooth on game day with the ultimate game day dessert. We're going to join Howard, who shows us how to make candy bar slab cookies in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
Coming up on CBS Mornings, legendary music producer Jimmy Moving discusses his latest project to have top visual artists reimagine some of his label's most iconic album covers.
Or you can switch on over with us on Fox 14, where your only local morning news continues. This morning, if you like playing Wordle, we'll have a story for you. A woman gets saved from a hostage situation thanks to the game. Plus, if you've ever dreamed of owning bees as a pet, you'll have the chance to do just that.
Okay, so do you play Wordle?
I played it once because my friends kind of peer pressured me into it, but I'm not very good at it, I don't think.
For those of you that play Wordle, you're going to be amazed at the communication that it spawned and how it possibly ended up saving a woman's life. That's when we flip on over to Fox 14. That wraps it up for this Friday edition. Have a great day. Be safe. Hooday! We'll do this again on Monday morning.
Today's pledge